If you are just waking up, you're going to be hearing about this today. This is a man being forcibly removed from a flight, not a terror situation. This was about the airline needing seats for their own staff. This is a United flight. An investigation is underway. One of the officers who wound up coming on the plane and dragging that guy off is on desk duty pending the investigation. Let's take you through it. CNN chief business correspondent, early start anchor Christine Romans, and we have CNN aviation analyst and former inspector general of the Department of Transportation, Mary Schiavo. Mary, let me just jump to you for 1 second and say, ever see anything like this? Not a terror situation. This was about wanting the seats for their own staff or crew that needed to get to another flight.
Unfortunately, I have. Not as bad. I haven't seen it where the passenger was actually assaulted and battered, but this happens all the time, and I'll bet I get a call at least once a week where someone that has been ejected from a plane for crew for bad planning on the part of the airline.
But the assault matters as a basis of comparison. I'm sure that they get sticky situations, but to drag this guy out bloodied off a plane and all the drama that ensued, who do you blame?
Oh, United. And by the way, this wasn't a true overbooking. This is not a denied booking situation. And they complied with none of the federal aviation regulations. For example, this guy was entitled to be presented with a piece of paper that explains his rights and the criteria that the airline used to select him. None of that occurred here. He was entitled to, and anyone booted from planes entitled to demand a check or cash on the spot. Yeah. And these are just the minimums.
But Mary, just to be clear, if he's presented with that piece of paper that spells out his rights and he says, I'm not going to give up my seat, if he's presented with the money or a voucher and he says, no, I have to get home for whatever reason, it's vitally important, then can they drag you from your seat?
Yes, it says it on the piece of paper. Then they roll it up and start to beat you about it.
Right. Well, the rules are, if they complied with all the federal regulations, yes, they can remove you from the plane. But, and again, in this case, this was not a true denied boarding. This was not an overbooking or denied boarding situation. They were already on the plane. The federal regulations don't say you can deny, you can drag them from the plane. And so, yes, if they order you from the plane, they can remove you, but they can't beat you up and batter you. Right. This was a mistake. Also, these security officers.
So you have, this was a mistake by any definition. But what I'm saying is, yes, you have the right to, and then it is it right to? Right. And that takes you to corporate policy. And I know that these weren't United staffers who did this, but it was under their direction. What does the company have to say about it?
The company says our employees followed established procedure. And I say then you should have some other procedures in case you have a diplomatic situation like this that needs to be handled a little more diplomatic.
Yeah, I missed that on the flight card that they give you about what happens in different incidents.
No, look, and it is an important distinction that Mary makes that we've been trying to make this morning. This wasn't a true overbooked flight. This was a flight that was full. They were in their seats. They had paid for their seats, and they needed four crew members that had to get to Louisville. And the company decided that the most important way to do, the best way to fix this with the least impact to everyone was to take four people off that flight and put their crew members on so the next flight could go off. It's a logistics problem of the company. The company had a logistics problem, and they took these four paying passengers off to resolve it. Now, one thing we've heard from a lot of the passengers, I know you talked to the passengers last hour, if they had just offered more money, or they had just been a little more, they came in one time, maybe two times, and said, we need four passengers. We're not leaving here until four passengers come off this.
Open their pockets.
Money's
How about
persuasive.
that? Yeah. $800, as we all know, doesn't go far if you're going to fly, and you can only use it with United. So why didn't they open their pockets?
I don't know why. And the problem for a lot of these passengers, this was the last flight out on Sunday night. The next flight was going to be where there were seats was later in the afternoon on Monday. These people did not want to leave that flight. Now, United should have handled it more diplomatically, in my view. And that's
more diplomatically.
And look, the stock is going to get hit today by 6%. I mean, shareholders are worried that this is going to be a problem for the bottom line of this company because this is such a PR blow.